Have you ever watched in frustration as your trading account slowly bleeds away? Despite all your research, despite all your efforts, despite your absolute certainty that you were making the right moves? What if I told you that the difference between consistent success and repeated failure in the markets isn't about having the hottest tips or the most sophisticated analysis, but about following a set of timeless principles that the most successful traders have used for over a century? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the globe. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Today, we're diving into the profound wisdom of one of the market's greatest masters, Richard Wyckoff. His principles have guided generations of successful traders through bull markets, bear markets, crashes and booms. Has this ever happened to you? You enter a trade, the market moves against you, and instead of cutting your loss, you hold on, hoping it will turn around? Or perhaps you've fought against a powerful market trend, trying to pick tops or bottoms, only to be crushed by the overwhelming force of the primary movement. Wyckoff understood something fundamental about markets that most traders never grasp: that prices move along what he called the line of least resistance. This isn't mystical thinking, it's practical observation. The market will go up if there's less resistance to an advance than to a decline, and vice versa. The professional trader's entire job is to identify this path and align their operations with it. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might fundamentally transform your approach to the markets. Wyckoff wasn't interested in short-term gambling. He developed a disciplined business approach to speculation. He knew that fighting the trend was like swimming against a powerful ocean current, exhausting and ultimately futile. Instead, he became like a surfer, using the market's own power to carry him to profits. Perhaps his most crucial insight, though, one that cost him millions to learn, was the absolute necessity of cutting losses quickly. While the amateur trader clings to losing positions, paralyzed by hope and ego, the professional acts decisively at the first sign of trouble. Wyckoff discovered that profits take care of themselves, but losses never do. That first small loss contains vital information. Your initial judgment was wrong, and paying that small price is infinitely better than watching it grow into an account-destroying disaster. What's truly fascinating about Wyckoff's approach is how it directly confronts our most destructive emotional tendencies in the market. The average trader feels hope when losing and fear when winning, precisely the opposite of successful behavior. But how exactly did Wyckoff overcome these natural impulses to become one of the most successful traders of his era? And how can you apply these same principles to your own trading, regardless of market conditions? If you value these trading insights, hit subscribe now to join thousands of traders mastering Wyckoff's timeless principles. Every video builds on these foundations to help you develop the complete trading mindset. The transformation in your trading results begins when you not only know when to exit losing trades, but also when to stay in your winners. Think about it. How many times have you sold a profitable position too early, only to watch in agony as it continued climbing for days or weeks afterward? This is perhaps the most common mindset trap for traders at all levels. Wyckoff recognized this psychological barrier and developed the perfect counterbalance to cutting losses quickly, letting your profits run. While the amateur trader is crippled by fear when winning and takes small profits, the professional understands that the real journey to wealth comes from riding major trends to their conclusion. It's during these extended moves that life-changing profits are made. There's a profound revelation in Wyckoff's approach here. The decision to hold a winning position requires more courage than the decision to enter it in the first place. The market will test your resolve with pullbacks and consolidations. During these moments, the hidden truth about successful speculation emerges. It's not about being constantly active, but about having the exceptional emotional discipline to sit through normal market fluctuations without being shaken out. As Wyckoff would say, the big money is made by sitting, not thinking. This patience creates the most powerful impact on your equity curve over time. But make no mistake, this seemingly simple principle demands a complete rewiring of your natural impulses. The amateur feels an irresistible urge to take profits while they exist. The professional sees those same profits as confirmation that their analysis was correct and the position deserves more time. Now, I want to go even deeper into another critical principle that can save you from financial disaster. There's a practice so destructive that Wyckoff considered it the cardinal sin of speculation, averaging down on losing positions. This seemingly logical approach, buying more shares at lower prices to reduce your average cost, is actually a dangerous illusion that has destroyed countless trading accounts. Think about what's really happening when you average down. You're taking a position that the market has already judged as wrong and doubling down on it. You're reinforcing failure rather than acknowledging it. The market is sending you valuable feedback, but instead of listening, you're arguing with the tape. This stubborn refusal to accept reality transforms manageable losses into account-destroying disasters. The professional trader never hopes their way out of bad trades. They cut them and preserve capital for better opportunities. This principle reflects a fundamental shift in your relationship with the market. It's about embracing reality rather than fighting it, about respecting the market's verdict rather than trying to impose your will upon it. The true revelation comes when you realize that averaging down isn't a strategy at all. It's an emotional reaction dressed up as a rational decision. If you've been guilty of this deadly mistake, know that you're not alone. Almost every trader has fallen into this trap at some point in their development. Write in the comments, "I've stopped averaging down," if you're committed to abandoning this destructive habit and embracing a more professional approach to your trading. So if averaging down on losers is a critical mistake, what's the professional alternative? This is where Wyckoff's brilliance truly shines. Instead of reinforcing weakness, he advocated for a powerful strategy known as pyramiding your winners. This approach represents a complete mindset shift in how you allocate your precious trading capital. Here's the revelation. Start with a small exploratory position. If and only if that initial trade shows a profit, then add to it. But here's the crucial difference. You buy your second lot at a higher price than your first, and your third at an even higher price. You're averaging up, not down. This ensures that your largest commitments are always made to positions that have already proven themselves successful. Think about the elegance of this strategy. The market itself is financing your increased exposure through your accumulated paper profits. You're reinforcing success rather than failure. This journey from small initial positions to larger, more confident ones mirrors the natural progression of a winning trade as it develops. Each new buy is backed by confirmation rather than hope. The amateur balks at buying higher, believing they've missed the move. The professional recognizes that higher prices are often the signature of genuine strength that will persist. This behind-the-scenes method of capital allocation is what separates the consistently profitable trader from the perpetually struggling one. Now I want to go even deeper into what might be the most challenging discipline to master: patience. The cornerstone of Wyckoff's timing methodology wasn't a complex indicator or secret formula. It was simply the wisdom to wait for confirmation. While amateurs rush into positions driven by FOMO, fear of missing out, Wyckoff understood that high-probability trades are surprisingly rare. He identified what he called pivotal points, specific price levels, where the battle between buyers and sellers reached a definitive conclusion. These are the moments when a stock is truly ready to move, when the line of least resistance is unmistakably established. To enter before this point is to gamble on opinion. To enter at the pivotal point is to act on the market's own confirmed evidence. The transformation this brings to your trading is profound. You're no longer guessing or hoping. You're responding to what the market is actually telling you. This requires a level of patience that few possess, but it's the key to being right from the very beginning of a move. Wyckoff learned through painful experience that being right about direction but wrong about timing is still a losing proposition. Consider how this principle challenges the common impulse to get in early. The amateur is driven by the anxiety of potentially missing a move. The professional knows that being early is often indistinguishable from being wrong. They understand that the first portion of a move is frequently the most volatile and unpredictable. Better to miss the first 10% and capture the middle 80% with confidence than to endure the uncertainty of premature entry. If you found yourself nodding along to this principle of waiting for confirmation before committing your capital, write in the comments, "Patience pays," and share a time when waiting for confirmation saved you from a premature entry. Let's turn our attention now to what might be the most overlooked aspect of trading success: proper capital management. Your trading capital isn't just money, it's the very oxygen that keeps your trading career alive. Wyckoff understood this with crystal clarity, treating his capital with the ultimate seriousness it deserved. Think about the brutal mathematics of loss for a moment. A 50% drawdown requires a 100% gain just to break even. A 75% loss needs a 300% gain to recover. These aren't just numbers, they're the harsh reality that has ended countless trading careers. Wyckoff's solution was elegantly simple. Never risk too much on any single idea, no matter how certain it seems. This wasn't about being timid, it was about ensuring longevity. He wasn't in the game to be a hero for a day, but to be a king for a career. By risking only a small, manageable portion of his capital on each trade, he protected himself from the catastrophic losses that could remove him from the game entirely. There's a powerful story Wyckoff would tell about a nervous cotton trader who couldn't sleep at night because of his oversized position. A friend advised him to sell down to the sleeping point. This wasn't just clever advice. It reveals a profound truth about the psychology of trading. A trader who can't think clearly because they're worried about the size of their position is a trader destined to make poor decisions. Wyckoff also practiced the discipline of securing his winnings. After substantial profits, he would physically convert a portion to cash and lock it away, a mechanical defense against the human tendency to give back what the market has given. This ritual reinforced the reality that paper profits aren't real until they're secured. Now, I want to go even deeper into what might be the most challenging aspect of Wyckoff's methodology: emotional control. The journey to trading mastery isn't about conquering the markets, it's about conquering yourself. Wyckoff identified with stunning clarity that the average trader's emotional responses are precisely inverted from what leads to success. When losing, the amateur is filled with hope that the market will turn, that their position will recover. This hope is poison. It keeps them locked in losing trades far too long. Conversely, when winning, they're filled with fear that profits will evaporate, driving them to take small gains too quickly. Wyckoff's psychological breakthrough was consciously inverting these emotional responses. When losing, he deliberately cultivated fear, not paralyzing fear, but a healthy, actionable fear that a small loss could become catastrophic. This fear drove him to cut losses immediately. When winning, he cultivated hope, not blind hope, but evidence-based. Confidence that a profitable position could become a major trend. This mental discipline, this rewiring of natural impulses, was perhaps his greatest edge. It's a transformation that doesn't happen overnight, but comes from repeated application of these principles until they become second nature. The professional trader doesn't eliminate emotions. They redirect them to serve rather than sabotage their trading. If you've recognized these emotional patterns in your own trading and are committed to rewiring them, write in the comments, "Emotions mastered," because acknowledging these tendencies is the first step toward transforming them. Another crucial element of Wyckoff's strategy was his laser-like focus on where to direct his attention. Instead of attempting to trade the entire market, a task that invites confusion and dilutes analytical power, he zeroed in on what he called the leading active issues. This principle of strategic concentration reveals a profound insight. It's much easier to watch a few stocks than many. In every bull market, there are specific industry groups that lead the advance. Within those groups, there are individual stocks showing exceptional relative strength. Wyckoff recognized that these leaders weren't just randomly selected by the market. Their leadership position was a revelation about their fundamental quality and the conviction of major players accumulating them behind the scenes. Ready to transform your trading results? Subscribe. Now for proven strategies from market masters, we cut through the noise to deliver the principles that have stood the test of time. The corollary to this principle is equally important. Beware of the laggards. The amateur trader is often tempted by stocks that haven't yet moved, seeing them as cheap or due for a catch-up rally. Wyckoff saw this as a dangerous misreading of the market's message. A stock that refuses to follow its group higher during a strong market isn't offering value. It's broadcasting weakness. This insight transforms how you view price action. A stock's behavior relative to its peers becomes a critical diagnostic tool. When the entire automobile sector is soaring, but one auto stock refuses to advance despite public buying, that's not an opportunity. It's a warning of disguised selling by those who know more than the public. Now, I want to go even deeper into one of Wyckoff's most counterintuitive discoveries: the dangerous allure of inside information. Throughout his career, Wyckoff was bombarded with tips, rumors, and supposedly secret information from people claiming to be in the know. His journey through this minefield of misinformation led him to a startling conclusion. Acting on such tips was one of the quickest paths to ruin. The hidden truth he discovered was both simple and profound. The tape is the ultimate authority, and its verdict must be trusted above all other sources. This wasn't just stubbornness. It was a recognition of the fundamental asymmetry in how inside information works. An insider might tell you when to buy, but they will never tell you when to sell. To do so would be an act of betrayal against their own associates and financial interests. The trader who acts on tips places themselves in a position of dependency. They've been led into a theater but haven't been shown where the exits are. They become trapped, waiting for guidance that will never come at the critical moment when it's time to sell. Wyckoff came to trust the action of the market itself so completely that he would often trade in direct opposition to what supposedly well-informed sources were telling him. This principle liberates you from the endless chase for the next hot tip or rumor. It replaces the anxiety of missing out on secret information with the confidence that comes from reading the market's own undeniable messages. The tape doesn't lie, doesn't have conflicts of interest, and doesn't leave you stranded when it's time to exit. If you've ever been burned by acting on a sure thing tip that turned into a disaster, write in the comments, "The tape never lies," acknowledging that the market's own action is the only truly reliable source of information. What separates the tiny minority of traders who succeed from the vast majority who fail? The answer lies not in any secret formula or magical indicator, but in something far more fundamental: their mindset about what trading actually is. Wyckoff recognized a profound truth that changed everything. The path of the speculator is paved with the ghosts of failed accounts, a testament to the brutal, unforgiving nature of the game. So many enter this arena armed only with hope and a handful of tips, only to be swiftly and mercilessly separated from their capital. They fail not because they lack intelligence or courage, but because they lack a coherent, disciplined philosophy. They're playing a game of chance, while the masters who endure are engaged in a serious, calculated business. This revelation transforms how you approach every aspect of trading. The amateur treats trading as a hobby, a thrill, or a gamble. The professional approaches it with the same methodical seriousness they would bring to any business enterprise. Every trade becomes a business decision, evaluated on its risk-reward merits rather than on hope or excitement. Wyckoff discovered through both spectacular victories and devastating defeats that success in speculation is never an accident. It's the result of constant observation, unwavering discipline, and alignment with the immutable principles that govern all market movements. To violate these principles is to invite certain ruin. To follow them is to position yourself with the great powerful forces that move markets. Now, I want to go even deeper into another cornerstone of Wyckoff's success: his commitment to continuous learning. He understood that mastery of the markets requires a lifetime of study, not a weekend course or a collection of hot tips. The market is an ever-evolving entity, yet paradoxically, it's governed by principles that have remained unchanged for centuries. This duality, the market's dynamic surface but unchanging depths, is what makes a historical approach to market education so valuable. Wyckoff devoured trading literature, studied market history, and methodically documented patterns of behavior that repeated across different eras and different instruments. He recognized that while the stocks, the players, and the technology may change, the underlying game, governed by the unchanging forces of human greed and fear, remains eternally the same. This insight offers an incredible advantage to the modern trader. It means that wisdom from a century ago isn't obsolete, it's essential. The principles that governed markets in Wyckoff's day remain just as relevant now. The speculator who ignores this historical wisdom is destined to learn the same painful lessons through their own losses that traders have been learning for generations. Studying these timeless principles doesn't just improve your trading, it transforms your relationship with the market. You begin to see through the noise and excitement of daily price movements to the underlying patterns and forces. You recognize situations that have played out countless times before, giving you a level of clarity and confidence that the novice trader simply cannot access. The journey from amateur to professional is ultimately a journey of transformation, from hoping and guessing to knowing and executing with precision. It's about embracing a philosophy that has stood the test of time and allowed the few who truly master it to achieve remarkable results across all market conditions. If you're committed to treating your trading as a serious business rather than a game of chance, write in the comments, "Trading is my business," affirming your dedication to approaching the markets with the professionalism they demand. One of the most profound revelations in Wyckoff's approach was his recognition that truly profitable opportunities don't present themselves randomly or constantly. They emerge at specific, identifiable moments when the market's direction becomes unmistakably clear. These critical junctures in price action, what Wyckoff called pivotal points, represent the conclusion of the struggle between buyers and sellers, the moment when one side has definitively overpowered the other. Think of these pivotal points as the market's own declaration of intent. They're not based on opinion, hope, or theoretical analysis. They're the visible evidence of actual supply and demand forces at work. The amateur rushes in before these confirmations, gambling on what might happen. The professional patiently waits for these decisive moments, then acts with confidence on what the market itself is revealing. This distinction transforms trading from a game of guesswork into a systematic business operation. It's the difference between speculating on what might occur versus responding to what is actually occurring. Wyckoff understood that entering at these pivotal points dramatically increased his probability of success from the very beginning of a trade. The journey to recognizing these crucial moments requires developing what Wyckoff called tape reading, the ability to interpret the market's own messages about its future direction. This skill isn't mystical. It's the result of patient observation and experience. It's about seeing beyond individual price bars to the underlying story they tell about the balance of power between buyers and sellers. Now, I want to go even deeper into another crucial aspect of Wyckoff's approach, the concept of trading at what he called the sleeping point. This simple but powerful idea addresses one of the most overlooked aspects of successful speculation: position sizing. Wyckoff understood that a position too large for your emotional comfort is guaranteed to impair your judgment and lead to poor decisions. There's a revealing story he often shared about a nervous cotton trader who couldn't sleep at night because of his oversized position. A friend wisely advised him to sell down to the sleeping point. This wasn't just clever advice, it was a profound insight into the psychology of trading. When you're worried about the size of your position, your brain literally cannot function optimally. You become reactive rather than strategic, emotional rather than logical. The revelation here is that position sizing isn't just about risk management in the traditional sense. It's about maintaining the clarity of thought necessary to execute your trading plan without emotional interference. The professional trader sizes positions not just according to mathematical models, but according to their personal psychological threshold for stress. This perspective brings a human dimension to the seemingly mechanical aspect of position sizing. It acknowledges that even the most sophisticated trading system will fail if the trader behind it is paralyzed by fear or driven by panic. Proper position sizing creates the emotional foundation that allows all of Wyckoff's other principles to be applied effectively. The transformation happens when you stop thinking about how much can I make and start thinking how much can I risk while maintaining complete mental clarity. This shift in mindset from maximizing potential gains to optimizing decision quality is what separates sustainable success from brief moments of luck, followed by devastating losses. If you've experienced the clarity that comes from trading positions sized for your emotional comfort, write in the comments. Right-sized and clear-minded, acknowledging the powerful connection between position sizing and mental clarity. One of Wyckoff's most powerful abilities was what many would call an almost mystical talent, but was in fact the result of intense observation and experience. He could read the market's subtle warning signs, detecting weakness or strength long before it became obvious to the average trader. The market constantly broadcasts signals about its underlying condition, but most traders lack the framework to interpret these messages correctly. Consider a scenario Wyckoff frequently encountered. In a roaring bull market, most stocks in a particular industry group are advancing strongly, but one refuses to participate in the rally. The amateur sees this as a value opportunity, a chance to buy a cheap stock that's due to catch up. Wyckoff saw something entirely different: disguised distribution. The stock's inability to advance despite favorable conditions and public buying was a red flag signaling hidden selling by those with superior information. This insight into divergent behavior when a stock fails to act as it should, given the prevailing conditions, was one of his most reliable warning signs. He didn't need to know the specific reason behind the weakness. The abnormal behavior itself was enough evidence to avoid the stock or even take a short position. This attention to relative strength and weakness transforms how you view market action, alerting you to dangers and opportunities invisible to those focused solely on news or fundamentals. The revelation here is that the market itself is constantly speaking to those who have learned its language. A stock that can't rally on good news, that fails to hold support despite positive sector performance, or that doesn't decline during market corrections, is telling you something important about its underlying condition. These subtle clues about accumulation or distribution often appear long before major moves develop. Now, I want to go even deeper into perhaps the most crucial insight of all, the importance of developing a complete trading philosophy. Wyckoff's golden rules are not isolated tactics or disconnected techniques. They form a coherent, integrated system designed to protect traders from both market dangers and their own psychological weaknesses. This comprehensive approach is what separates sustainable success from occasional lucky wins. The amateur cherry-picks techniques, applying them inconsistently or abandoning them when they don't produce immediate results. The professional understands that these principles work together as a unified philosophy, each one reinforcing and complementing the others. While these rules cannot guarantee profits on every trade, nothing can, they ensure something far more important: survival. The journey of trading mastery is not about avoiding all losses. It's about staying in the game long enough to capture the rare, fortune-making trends that occasionally emerge. The trader who blows up their account chasing quick gains never lives to see these opportunities. The one who preserves capital through disciplined risk management and patient execution is positioned to capitalize when genuine opportunities arrive. This philosophy provides not just tactical guidance, but the psychological fortitude required to withstand the market's inevitable challenges. It transforms trading from a series of disconnected, emotional decisions into a coherent business operation with clear principles and procedures. The market's external conditions may change dramatically, but these internal principles remain constant, providing stability amidst chaos. What's truly remarkable is that these golden rules remain as relevant today as they were a century ago. While technology, instruments, and market structures have transformed completely, the underlying human psychology, driven by the timeless forces of greed and fear, remains unchanged. These principles weren't just relevant for Wyckoff's era, they're the eternal architecture of market success. If these principles have resonated with you as a framework for approaching the markets with discipline and clarity, write in the comments, "Philosophy before tactics," acknowledging that a coherent trading philosophy must precede any collection of techniques or strategies. As we've explored these timeless principles together, I hope you've come to see that success in the markets isn't about finding some magical indicator or secret formula. It's about embracing a complete philosophy of trading, one that addresses not just market mechanics, but the psychology that drives both markets and traders. What Wyckoff discovered, through his lifetime of triumphs and defeats, was nothing less than the architecture of market survival. These principles have withstood the test of time, not because they're clever tricks, but because they're aligned with the unchanging nature of markets themselves. They remain as powerful and relevant today as they were a century ago. If you found value in these insights and want to continue this journey of trading mastery with us, hit the subscribe button below. We're dedicated to bringing you the timeless wisdom of market legends, translated for today's trading environment. No hype, just the proven principles that stand between success and failure. I'd love to hear which of these golden rules resonated most with you. If you've made it to the end of this exploration, type "Golden Rules Mastered" in the comments and share the principle that struck you as most crucial for your own trading. If you appreciated this deep dive into trading psychology and strategy, a simple like lets us know we're providing the kind of substantive content you're looking for. There's a video right here that takes these principles even further, showing you how to apply Wyckoff's methods to identify accumulation and distribution patterns in real market conditions. Click and continue this journey with me there as we translate these timeless principles into practical trading strategies for today's markets. Remember, in the end, it's not about making a single winning trade. It's about developing the mindset and discipline to stay in the game long enough to capitalize on those rare, fortune-making opportunities that emerge for those who are prepared.